All right, let's jump right in. We're not just going to talk about online privacy today. We're actually going to build a real plan. We're going to distill an expert's core philosophy into a guide you can actually use to take back control of your own personal information. But first, I have a question for you. How much do you think is really out there? I'm not talking about some secret government database. I mean right there on the surface, totally available to anyone with a search engine. Let's find out. Go ahead, you can even pause this and try it right now. Open up a browser and type your full name in quotes and then your zip code, also in quotes. And those quotation marks, they're super important. They tell the search engine to look for that exact phrase. So, what do you see? Your address? Your phone number? Kind of creepy, right? Okay, now let's get even more specific. Try your name with your street name. This one simple search is often all it takes to pull up records from people's search websites and public databases, lists that basically just hand over your home address to the world. It's a little unsettling, isn't it? So, we've seen the problem, but the good news is there's a solution. We're going to walk through a full-on privacy intervention with a really clear playbook. We'll start by figuring out your digital ghost, then we'll jump into our three-phase plan: the cleanup, the lockdown, and the decoy. And finally, we'll see what this new, more private life can actually look like. All right, so first step is to face that digital ghost, that collection of all your data points that creates this public profile of you, usually without you even knowing about it, let alone consenting to it. And this isn't just about your social media posts. We're talking about data brokers whose entire business is to collect and sell your information. And this right here gets to the absolute core of the problem. These companies have a huge financial incentive to keep your data. They make money from it. So, of course, they don't want you to leave. They're not going to put a big flashy remove your data here button on their homepage. No way. You have to actively hunt for these opt-out pages because privacy just isn't a passive thing anymore. So if the whole system is kind of designed to work against you, how do you even begin to fight back and take back your own information? You fight back with a plan. We're calling this a three-phase treatment plan. Think of it as a methodical, step-by-step way to tackle the data that's already out there, protect yourself from future leaks, and, you'll see, even use the system against itself. Just remember these three words: cleanup, lockdown, and decoy. They're simple, they're powerful, and each phase builds on the one before it. So let's start with the cleanup. Phase 1, the cleanup, is pretty much what it sounds like. It's all about digital sanitation. This is where we have to roll up our sleeves and start scrubbing all that personal data that's already been exposed online. And it's a pretty straightforward three-step process. First, you search for yourself, just like we did a minute ago, to find out where your data is living. Second, you identify which of those data brokers, those people search sites, are hosting it. And third, you just have to systematically go through their hidden, annoying opt-out procedures and submit removal requests. Yeah, it's tedious, I know, but trust me, it's the foundation for everything else. And you're not just stumbling around in the dark here, you're targeting a whole category of websites, these data brokers. Here are just a few of the usual suspects, the big players that collect and sell your info. Every single one of them has an opt-out procedure. You just have to be persistent enough to find it. Okay, so once you've cleaned up the mess that's already out there, it's time for phase 2, the lockdown. This is where we shift from cleaning up the past to defending the present. We're building digital walls to stop your information from leaking out in the first place. This means using the right tools for the job. We're talking about basic digital hygiene, like good antivirus software, of course. But it's also about stepping up your game with secure browsers like Firefox packed with privacy extensions, using a paid VPN to hide your internet traffic, and for that maximum level of protection, using the Tor browser. And this quote right here, this reveals the real mindset shift you need. A VPN isn't just for when you're on a sketchy Wi-Fi at a coffee shop. For real privacy, it has to become a permanent habit. Every single time you're online, your traffic should be encrypted and your location hidden. It's basically your non-negotiable, always-on digital shield. And now we get to the final and honestly the most clever phase, the decoy. This is where you finally get to go on the offensive. Once you've cleaned up your past and locked down your present, you can start actively creating disinformation to protect your future. Now let's be really clear what we mean by disinformation. We are not talking about anything illegal or malicious here. This is simply about giving plausible but false information to services that have no legitimate need for your real data. Think about a loyalty card application or some random online survey. Here's a perfect example. A grocery store loyalty program asks for your name, address, and phone number. Does that store really need to know where you live to give you a discount on cereal? Of course not. So instead of Jane Laporte, you become Jane Lapert. Instead of your home address, you use a P.O. box. And instead of your personal cell, you use a disposable Google Voice number. The data they collect on you is now basically useless for tracking you. This is probably my favorite little anecdote from the source material. When buying a new refrigerator, the author gave the store the name John Coolman. Why? Well, it's a memorable alias tied to the purchase, his cool refrigerator, right? Now, if junk mail starts showing up addressed to John Coolman, he knows exactly which company sold his data. It's a brilliant little trick to turn their own data collection against them. So after the cleanup, the lockdown, and the decoy strategy, what does this new private life actually look like? Well, it's not about disconnecting and going to live in a cabin in the woods. It's about changing your habits and just maintaining a new level of what you could call digital hygiene. And this really is the core idea behind everything we've talked about. In the past, maybe you could be private just by being unlisted in the phone book. That world is long gone. Today, privacy is an active pursuit. It's something you have to consciously build, you have to maintain it, and you have to demand it for yourself. Which leaves us with one final thought. Every piece of data you share, every purchase, every search, every single like, it all adds up to a story about who you are. The real question is, who do you want holding the pen? Do you want it to be you or 1,000 different companies you've never even heard of? The choice really is yours.